Should you buy Battlefield 2042 in 2022? We all know Battlefield 2042 had a disastrous launch, like one of, if not the worst launch of a Battlefield game to date, and was heavily criticised, and rightfully so. Battlefield 2042 was a buggy mess, the performance on PC was atrocious, and the overall feel of the game felt completely off. But what about now? Battlefield 2042 has been out for almost 6 months now, so I decided to hop back in. Bear in mind, I wasn't up to date on any updates, good or bad, so I went in blind, so here's what I thought. Also, if you are interested in my original Battlefield 2042 review, you could click the top right, or you could check the description, it will be there, you could check it out, and to be honest, I was way too nice in that review, but you could probably get a good laugh out of it. I was just happy playing a new Battlefield game, a modern one as well, but it was rough. I don't know why I was so nice to it. Well, let's start with content. It's been 6 months and no content has been added. DICE said they were changing some of the maps, but all they really did was add some crates and a really shit scoreboard. So yeah, not much to be said here. At launch there was bugs when it comes to hit registration. I'm happy to say I didn't really experience any hit reg issues with my few hours with Battlefield 2042, but that doesn't mean the gunplay is good. In my original review I said the gunplay was okay, but in hindsight it's really not. It's not great, it's not good. You have a bunch of weapons from assault rifles, SMGs, snipers, etc. Your usual amount of weapons from your average shooter, but honestly everything feels so damn floaty. Guns feel like crap to shoot unless it's a sniper, and even then it's like bullet drop doesn't even exist, which is what made Battlefield sniping really fun back in Battlefield 3 and 4. It just feels far more casual, which isn't necessarily a negative, but if you're aiming for a casual audience, the game has to be somewhat addictive, but Battlefield 2042 just isn't. Progression is pretty awful. You level up weapons and all that, but that's about it. You don't really level up classes because, well, there's not much point. You get the usual equipment for recon, engineer, etc., but it's nothing new. You could do all this in the previous Battlefield games, and it was just a better experience, and the progression was more streamlined. For example, in Battlefield 4 and 3, and pretty much any Battlefield before that, and after it, before 2042, there was a very streamlined progression system. You have 4 operators, I'm calling them operators now, fuck this game. You've got 4 different classes: assault, recon, engineer, and support. But that's basically what I remember. That's my thinking of it, but you got like medic and stuff like that. You pick each class and they have unique weapons, and you can level up the guns, you can level up your class abilities, etc. You can get better weapons basically, or well, weapons that aren't better but do different things, which is the way it should be. There shouldn't be better weapons in a sense that are just better in every situation, but 2042 seems to have that issue too. So that's what I mean by streamlined. Everything just made sense. You click on a class, you level that class up, you level up the weapons, you get detachments for those weapons, and then you go to a different class and you do the same thing. Sure, it was repetitive, but who cares? It works. It gives you a sense of progression. That's what keeps you playing multiplayer games. Well, and the social aspect, but I'm not going to go into that. It's just one of them. 2042 seems to lack the most basic foundation for a multiplayer game. I don't get it. I don't understand what the point was. Look at Battlefield 4. You had classes with unique weapons, making it worth leveling up those classes to use those specific weapons, plus you had loads of customization for those classes, and it all played a pretty vital role in winning matches. Every single class mattered. In Battlefield 2042, everyone just runs around doing their own thing, and everything just feels so antisocial, like I'm playing with bots, and judging by the player count, I probably was playing with bots. Just a reminder, we have a Discord that's growing pretty quick. Come join us if you want to chat about games, especially Battlefield 2042. It would be quite hilarious. Link is down below. Operators haven't changed at all. It's all really cringy dialogue, and this ability-based system is just so not Battlefield. Most of them are pretty useless, and I tend to just use the grapple or the wingsuit because they are actually somewhat fun, but in the long term, they're pretty basic mechanics that get old very quick. Battlefield Portal was the thing I was most hyped about when it came to Battlefield 2042. The idea to bring all the old games together was pretty damn genius, and it could have been something fantastic. Build on everything those games did and combine them together for the ultimate Battlefield experience with a bunch of different eras. It could have been fantastic, but the reality is that Portal is just like it was at launch. A poor attempt at cashing in on your nostalgia. Battlefield Portal is still just worse versions of the old games you loved. It all feels like crap. It feels like an imposter version of those games, which I knew would be an issue if Battlefield Portal turned out to be awful, and well, it is. Why would you even boot up Battlefield Portal if you have the original games on your PC? That concept has to be nailed, and it just wasn't. It's another disappointing mode from the DICE of today, and it would have been so easy to nail if the foundation of the game was good, but it just isn't. Plus, the player counts on the older games like Battlefield 4, even Battlefield 3, I think, it's just more healthy at this point. I mentioned that you get a bunch of weapons in Battlefield 2042, but it's nowhere near the amount you get in Battlefield 4. Do you guys remember the amount of weapons you could unlock, and they all felt different and interesting to use? Well, that's gone, and the weapons in Battlefield 2042 are, well, just pitiful in comparison. I didn't moan too much about Battlefield 5 or Battlefield 1 with their weapon selection because it's set in a different era, an era that's quite limited by the time. But Battlefield 2042 is set in the future, guys. There should be loads of weapons. There shouldn't be any possibility of you being bored or having no selection of different types of weapons, different feelings, different recoil patterns, all of that stuff. It should all be there, but it just isn't. Right, so that's the gunplay and progression. But what makes Battlefield Battlefield? What makes it tick? Well, Battlefield 2042 was marketed as the all-out destruction the franchise always promises every time a new game is announced, but in reality that destruction aspect gets downgraded with every entry, it seems. Bad Company 2 was the last Battlefield game to really deliver on that dynamic destruction. Not just levolution, but actual player-controlled destruction that could completely change how a map plays naturally, rather than having everyone rush to one specific skyscraper and blow it up. And I'm saddened to say that it's even worse in 2042. I didn't spend much time testing this out in my original review, but I don't think I needed to. I captured this gameplay a couple hours ago and just look at it. I can't even shoot a damn wall, let alone blow the damn thing up. This might as well be Call of Duty because this is just pitiful. I think that's the word of this review. Pitiful. Somehow DICE released less maps in their multiplayer only game and made them less dynamic and overly large. Like, what was the direction for this game? Make it Warzone without the Battle Royale aspect? Because it just doesn't work. One massive issue was vehicles. Vehicles were incredibly overpowered and spawned more times in 5 minutes than vehicles did for entire matches in the previous Battlefields, and it hasn't really improved. In fact, it may have got worse. I played Engineer for most of my time, and half the time when I shot a rocket at a tank, it's like it didn't even hit. It's irritating because they spent so much time making each part of these vehicles destructible so you could take out tires or treads on tanks, etc., but it just doesn't work. At least in my experience. These are all core pillars of the franchise and nothing bloody works. I played Battlefield 4 right after I got done with 2042 and the difference is just ginormous to the point of satire. I really didn't know how to write this video to keep a majority of people interested because there is no silver lining, guys. There really is nothing positive to say about this game and it's a damn shame. Battlefield 2042 is simply a disaster in both a business and consumer standpoint. It really is sad how far DICE has fallen, and sure, Battlefront 2 is good now, but damn, they really should just ditch 2042 and just move on. There is no point. There are rumours of 2042 going free to play, so I absolutely unequivocally say you should not buy 2042 in 2022. Thank you for watching.